I had a terrible DXM trip, and it really fucked me up. So I'm never doing DXM ever again. But it was really bad. It was really bad. Have you done DXM lately? Yes, I did, and it really, it got me good. I thought I was gonna die. I was on the edge of dying. I saw death and the universe collide. 450 milligrams of it I was on. I was on 450 milligrams. Cause I did, so before I would do like 210 and then I went up to 300 the first time I started doing DXM again. And then I did 240 or something and I was fine in all of it. And then I took 240 before Alien Romulus. We saw Alien Romulus, and when the movie was starting, I was like kind of panicking a little bit, but I ended up being okay. I started relaxing, and then the next time was the last time I did 450. I don't know why I decided to do 450. I don't know what my thought process was for that, but I decided to do it, and I was, oh my god, dude, I started tripping really hard. And I thought I was going to die. I thought, like, I started getting these head things where it would feel like my head was about to fucking pop. And it would happen, like, if I would have to focus on something else for it not to happen. But, like, as soon as I stopped focusing on something, that's why I got through, like, 2 seasons of The Sopranos, because I'm on my fourth rewatch now. I got through 2 seasons of it. And, yeah, everything was all hazy. And I started thinking of the last stream where I started thinking of serotonin syndrome and seizures and stuff. I started thinking I was going to have one, and I felt like I came close to having one, because I was walking around trying to like not focus on it, and then I sat down and I felt like my head was just about to I thought I was just about to fall to the ground and have a seizure. I don't know what the upcoming feeling for a seizure feels like, but I felt like I was having it or something. But like, luckily it didn't happen. It came really close to it though. And then the whole night, dude, I was just fucking freaking out, trying to not die. When I was watching my phone and my computer, it looked like it was a mile away trying to watch it. And I had it up close to my face to make me realize that like it's not that far away. It's just close, but it looked very far. And I started thinking of the simulation theory, and I started freaking out about that because like I started thinking like, oh my God, this is the end for me. This is seriously going to end my life. I am going to wake up in a room or something like the Matrix, and it's going to say game over on my field of vision. I'm going to see the words game over, and I'm going to wake up, and everything that I lived was just fabricated. It wasn't real. It was just a facade of what I was actually seeing. Like, you were just not living life. You know, you were not, this life that you are living here is not real. This is just fake. And I thought that was what was going to happen. And I started freaking out about that. So I started like, you know, just getting, I don't know. I just wanted to just escape that, and just the thinking of death and everything. Like, and then I had my friend called me on the phone, and I tried to be as normal as I could, but I know I couldn't. And I was just, you know, trying to like ground myself. I didn't know if I was still real or not. And then we started talking about our friendship, and we started asking each other, like, when did we first start hanging out? We both couldn't remember, but like, I was surprised I was able to remember things, because I felt like I wasn't able to like remember who I was or what I was. I was seriously, like, they call it dissociatives for a reason, because I was dissociating heavily as fuck, dude. It was so bad. But what else happened on it? Yeah, so he called, and then he said, you know, whatever happens, I'm glad that you've been my friend for this long, and we've been friends, you know. And I started thinking that was like, yep, no, okay, my life is definitely going to end now, because he said that. Like, it really freaked me out, and it really tripped me out when he said that. I was like, it was a big compliment to get. Like, if I was sober, I would be like, oh my God, that's so awesome to say that to me. But in my DXM state, I was freaking out from it. Like I just could not. Oh my god, dude, it was so bad. But then we hung up, and I remember I couldn't walk really. Like my whole body felt stiff, and my heart was beating like this, like really fast, mostly the whole night ever since I took it. And I was just looking to have a fun time to listen to some music, but it ended up just me panicking watching The Sopranos, season 2 up until season 3, I'd say. Yeah, and when I watch stuff on DXM, like it becomes like a different type of thing. Like I watched Halloween 4 on DXM, so that was another time I did it, and I was fine. I think that was when I did 300 milligrams. And it just felt like a different kind of movie. Like everything felt different. Like, and I felt with The Sopranos, I felt like I was in the show. I was experiencing it for myself. Like I wasn't Tony Soprano, but I was like someone who was just like there, just like a being that was like a character, but wasn't like, no one knew I was there, but like I was in there. Like I just felt everything in the show that was going on. And there's a scene in the show, I'm not going to spoil it, but it happens in season 2 where a character gets killed for shooting at one of Tony's closest people. And, you know, Tony drags it out a little bit. He acts like he's not going to kill him and everything, but he does at the end. You know, when he's screaming for his life, he's like, "No, mommy, please, no." And that really got me, dude. That really terrified me. And they shoot him, and it's like very graphic as well. Like Sopranos is a very graphic TV show. Watch it if you haven't. It's the best thing ever. I don't know why you guys haven't seen it, but it's better than anything you'll ever watch in your fucking life. But that part freaked me out, and just seeing that on DXM was really, you know, scary. And I forgot when I went to bed, but I remember I also was seeing visuals. I had a bunch of closed eye visuals, a bunch of fractals and like lightning sparks and everything. I was seeing all that crap. And then I was trying to go to bed, but I had that head thing still going on, and like it just like woof, woof. Not like almost like a brain zap maybe, because I was getting brain zaps after I was getting off the Zoloft myself. I was tapering down. I started getting them, but it just was woof, woof, and that's what would go in my head at like every fucking second, and it was hard for me to go to sleep. But I finally did at like 2:00 in the morning, and I had to work the next day. And you know, past all the times I've done DXM ever since I started taking it recently, past month or so, I've been able to sleep, but this time it was just so difficult for me to get to sleep. Like my eyes were wide open. I took some hydroxyzine to help, but I'm sure it did. And then I woke up in the morning, and I was dizzy as all motherfucker. I was like, dude, there's no way I can go to work. So I had to call off, and I hated it. I did not want to call off, but I had to. I was making my lunch. I was getting ready, and it was so hot outside when I went out in the morning, and I was like, I knew I wasn't going to be able to survive. And I'm like, okay, I'll just rest today, and everything will be fine tomorrow. Boy, was I fucking wrong. I was still dizzy and lightheaded the next day. And I went to work, though, because it wasn't as bad, but it was still bad. And I got there, I started drinking a caffeinated drink because like I was tired, but like it wasn't a good idea to drink a caffeinated drink. And I ended up, you know, loading my truck, and I was like, dude, I don't know how I'm supposed to do this today, because it was Advo Day, which are the newspaper things that we give out every Tuesday with the coupons or with the advertisements in them. Might be some coupons in there, but they were really heavy that day. And I was like, dude, there's no way I'm going to have to just like deliver the packages and mail, and not even these. I was going to go tell my supervisor that I couldn't, but I just brought everything with me, and I was just gonna be like, I was just going to leave it in my ProMaster for the next day to deliver it. But I got out, and my first package I delivered, and mind you, it was going to be a heat index of 100 degrees that day. It was about 104 degrees I saw in my car at one point, or maybe it was like 100, but yeah, it was still hot. And then I dropped off the package. I'm like, dude, I can't even fucking do this. I can't even walk. I felt like I was just going to pass out and die. And I was afraid to die because I mean, of course you'd be afraid to die, but some people are not afraid to die, which is crazy. That's one of my biggest fears most of the time. Except when I was super depressed last month, I did not care. But so I was afraid because I was like, I'm gonna get heat stroke and I'm dizzy. I'm lightheaded. My blood pressure is probably really high and my heart rate is just going super fast. So I had to call my supervisor again and tell him, like, listen, I have to bring this stuff back. I am super sorry. I have to go to the hospital right now. So I came back and I was just like, I literally could barely stand. I could barely look at people. My one coworker, she's like the sweetest person in the world. She was still loading up at the dock. She saw me and I was like, yeah, I had to bring my stuff back because I just can't deliver. I feel like I'm going to pass out and die. And she gave me a hug. She's a very sweet woman. I love her so much. Shout out her. I'm not going to give her name away, but starts with an L. Very nice woman. Yeah, and so I left. I went home first, took some hydroxyzine, and then went to the hospital. And I got there, and my blood pressure was 155 over 108. Can you guys fucking believe that shit? 155 over 108, and my heart rate was at 118 beats per minute, which is really high. Now, there's a DXM story that's coming out today where the guy did way more. It's the craziest DXM story I've ever read. So be on the lookout for that at 5:00. And his blood pressure was 220 over 180, and his beats per minute was 233. Somehow did not die. So that just goes to show you it's gonna be a crazy story. So don't miss that. But they kept me there at the hospital. They gave me some Ativan, and it was Ativan drip. And slowly but surely, I came back down to normal. Before I left, they took my blood pressure 3 more times. And they took my blood. I got an EKG. Everything came back normal. Except I went to the doctor again on Friday to get a follow up, and they said my white blood cell count was actually pretty high, so I got to get that lowered. So yeah, that's the only thing that was wrong. But yeah, no, they tested it. It was like 151 over 97. And then they tested it again at 149 over 91. And then before I left, it was 122 over 79. I was there for a couple hours. They gave me a blanket, and I just sat in the chair and I was just waiting. They just wanted me to wait and get out because they knew it was anxiety. They knew it wasn't anything else. But it was really, really terrible. I mean, I never had a panic attack like that in my life where I thought I was actually going to die. The panic attacks I've had, where I've had feelings like I can't breathe and stuff, which all that stuff was happening. But this one was just an extreme one where I was like, dude, I'm going to fall over and actually pass out, and I'm going to be on the street. And who's going to find me? Is there going to be someone who calls the ambulance? Like, I do not want to go to the ambulance. I'd rather get myself to the hospital instead. So, yeah, no. And then Wednesday I took off and I felt better. I got better every single day. And finally, like Friday, I was completely normal, fine. But yeah, no, it was, man, dude, that lasted about 3 days, that trip. And there's a nice afterglow with DXM. I usually like going to work. Like, that's why I took a lot, because I wanted to have a nice afterglow at work. But dude, the afterglow was insane. It was like a whole other DXM trip in itself. And yeah, dude, I just couldn't stop shaking. Like, it was like really, like my whole body was just shaking like crazy. But yeah, that was the DXM trip that I had, and I'm okay now. Luckily nothing happened, but dude, oh my God, that could have went seriously terrible. But I vowed to never do DXM. I said, God, if you get me through this, I promise I'll never do DXM ever again. And I got the Robotabs, I threw them in the toilet, I flushed it, and I threw out the cap, the bottle of it, in the trash. And yeah, that's my story of when I did 450 milligrams of DXM. I might cut that out and put it into my own video on the second channel or something. Might be a good idea. But yeah, so have I done DXM lately? If that answers your question, I have.